Hello, my name is Rossella and today I'm going to do chapter 9 in this book. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe to my channel. I publish lots of videos about grade 5 music theory. You can also find me on Facebook, Theory Virtuoso, and Instagram, Theory Virtuoso, where you know what and when I'm going to publish next. You can visit my website, theoryvirtuoso.com, if you want to find all the videos that I published. There are music theory videos to help you improve and revise your knowledge, tutorials on discovering music theory, past and sample exam papers in the new format, the online one from 2020, musical quizzes and piano tutorials to help you improve your piano playing. Thank you for liking and sharing this video. Happy watching! Bye! This last chapter of the book relates to music in context. We have 4 pieces of music on which we need to answer the questions. The first one relates to pitch. So we have a wonderful piece by Chopin to observe and answer the questions about. We have 3 bars written in 3 different clefs: alto, tenor and bass, and we need to compare them with bar 1 of the right hand part in the original score. And to make it quick, I'm just going to reproduce it here. We have a treble clef and our first note is D here, up here. Now, if you have watched other videos, you know that every time I answer this comparison question, I have a memorime to consider. If the pitch you want to know, middle C, are you above or below? So, where is middle C in all these clefs? Middle C in the alto clef is here. Middle C in the tenor clef is here. Middle C in the bass clef is here. So, before looking at the questions, let's see what happens in this piece. All of these notes are D, but which ones? In bass clef is just above middle C. In the tenor and alto clef is an octave lower. So basically these 2 clefs, okay, the notes in these 2 clefs would be written down here in the bass clef. Where is the treble clef? 1 octave higher, 1 octave higher and 1 octave higher. So none of them are the same pitch of the original score. But let's see. A, B and C are correctly written 1 octave lower of this note. Okay, so middle C in the treble clef would be here. These notes are 1 octave lower than that. So these notes are here, alto and tenor. Let's imagine that we can prolong the stave further down. And the bass clef is basically 1 above, so here. Alto, tenor. A, B and C are correctly written 1 octave lower. I'm afraid only the bass clef is written 1 octave lower because these ones are 2 octaves lower. So this is not correct. And by the way, we have only one correct statement here. Only A is correctly written 1 octave lower. This is impossible because these 2 are the same. Only A and C are correctly written 1 octave lower. This is also incorrect because only A and B are the same. A and C are not the same. Only C is correctly written 1 octave lower. So, as we said, this will be the note in the bass clef. So, this is the only correct statement. I would recommend, when you answer this question guide in the real exam paper, I would recommend you to not to rush onto the answer, but to observe the three options and to compare them with the original note. Then find the middle C, observe again, and then answer the questions. Read them all, and when you find the right answer, don't move on. Make sure that you can exclude the other answers because of some reason and find the reason. This is the best way. We can now move on to the second question. We need to circle true or false depending on what is written here, if it's correct or not. The music begins in the key of E flat major. Now, if we observe the score, we see that the score has two flats. And two flats mean that the penultimate flat is B flat. Therefore, the keys could be either B flat or G minor. And none of them agree with this. So, false. To be in E flat major, we will need three flats. So this is incorrect. The pedal should only be used in bar 1. Well, this is also false, because in bar 2, actually underneath bar 2, we find this little dotted word, sim. Sim means simile, and simile means please continue doing what you've done before. So keep the pattern going. And in this case, it could relate to anything in the music. It could be related to articulation. It could be related to pedaling. So in other words, say, do something similar. But similar in this case means the same. So same as before, basically, simile. It's also a Latin word if you study Latin. The leading note of D minor is played in bar 5. Now, the leading note of D minor is one semitone below D. So, Do sharp. Do we see Do sharp in bar 5? Yes, we do. We have two Do sharps in bar 5. So, the answer is true. The music gets a little slower in bar 7. Yes, because we have the symbol poco rit and means poco ritardando. Ritardando is when you are on your way to be late, retarded, late. So, slower. Therefore, yes, we do get a little slower in bar 7. Bar 7 contains a sextuplet. Now, a sextuplet is an irregular amount of notes in the space of a regular amount of notes. In this piece, we are in 4/4. Therefore, we need to have 4 semiquavers to make one movement, one crotchet. If we want to have more than or less than 4 notes, we need to have an irregular amount of notes and then add an arc and the number on the top. In this case, we have a quintuplet, not a sextuplet, because the sextuplet would be this. And here we have a quintuplet. Now, we could have this arc or not. And this depends only on the choice of the editor. Okay? It could be that the editor is based their choice on the manuscript or one of the manuscripts available. So one of the sources, let's call it that way, because it could be the autograph or it could be another, a past edition. Or the first edition, something like it. But it is basically a choice. Okay, so this, to go back to our answer, this is incorrect because we have a quintuplet. And with this, we have finished the second question. Let's move on. Now, they ask us to observe bar 7 and 8, the right hand part, and decide which of these instruments can play the same part, making sure that they play it at the same octave so they don't transpose it down. Now, let's go through the 4 options. We have trombone, trombone, cello, timpani, and oboe. Now, timpani, it can't be, because timpani is it has a few pitches, like it could be 1 or 2, so let's exclude that. Trombone, also called trombone, it's low. It's very low, and these parts are basically like a violin, the same as violin. It could be a clarinet, it could be a violin, it could be a viola, or it could be an oboe. So we must exclude cello and trombone. And our answer is oboe, also called in Italian oboe. The next question asks us to find how many times the leading note of B flat major, there you go, this is the key of the piece, appear in the right hand part. Now, first of all, we need to identify the leading note. And the leading note of B flat major is 1 semitone below. Easy peasy. 1 semitone below B flat is A, La. Natural. Okay? Now, let's make sure that we only go through the right hand part. Okay? Because we might find many La's in the left hand part, so we need to count just the ones on the top stave. I see 4, so the answer is 4. Now, don't make sure that you check all the octaves, because La is La anywhere on the stave. Any La is the leading note of B flat, so it could be written in any key, in any octave, anywhere. And La is always, once you call it A, that is always the leading note of B flat major. And I hope that this is clear. Now, the last question relating to this piece by Chopin. In this question, we need to complete the sentences by adding one number. Easy peasy. There is an upper mordent in bar 4, and this is the symbol. That little zigzagging thing that means play the real note, play the upper one, go back to the real note. The left hand part in bar 4 has the same notes in rhythm as bar 2. Now here what we need to do is just compare the notes. The rhythm is basically the same, but throughout the piece, nearly, apart from bar 6. So we need to just see the shape and check that all the notes are the same. That's all. You need just a little bit of patience. Here it is. And with this quick answer, we've completed the first piece. Let's move on to the second one. In this wonderful piece by Debussy, we need to compare these 3 bars with the right hand part of bar 5. So the right hand part of bar 5 starts with this note, G sharp. Okay, now again, if the pitch you want to know, middle C, are you above or below? Middle C in bass clef is up here, in treble clef is here, down here, in the tenor clef is up here, and in the alto clef is here. How do I know it? I just follow the line where the two bubbles meet and I find middle C. Same as here. Same for all the C clefs. And the bass clef is just, this is Fa, so I count Fa, Sol, La, Si, Do. Okay. Now, as I said before, let's observe the situation. This note, the original one written on the score, is above middle C. All the other ones are below. This is one octave, this is just below. This is more than one octave below, and this is more than one octave below. So this is the only one above. So basically, if we want to compare them without even reading the statements, this note is 1 octave below the original one. This is 2 octaves below the original, and this is also 2 octaves below the original. Now, we can read the statements and we shall find only one correct statement. I am so sorry, I just realized that I covered this with my light. A, B, and C are correctly written 2 octaves lower. I've already answered that question. Only these two are correctly written 2 octaves lower, so this is incorrect. Only A is written 2 octaves lower. No, this is just one. Only B and C are correctly written 2 octaves lower. Yes. Let's see if we can exclude this one. Only C is correctly written 2 octaves lower. No, because also these two are the same notes. So our correct answer is the third. And as I said before, I believe that the correct approach to this question is this. First, reproduce the original score, then find middle C, do your observations, and then read the questions, and when you find the right answer, exclude all the other ones. Make sure that you have good reasoning for that. Okay, second question. We need to circle true or false depending on whether these statements are correct or incorrect. The music should be played slowly. Yes, because the tempo indication at the beginning of the piece says lent, and lent means slow. So, slow. It's a French word, and Debussy is also a very good French composer. In bar 5, the hands play the same notes 2 octaves apart, and I'm afraid this is false because they play it 1 octave apart. The left hand touches middle C and the right hand the C above middle C. So false. The music gets louder in bar 7. Yes, because there is a crescendo hairpin visible. The final chord in bar 8 is the chord 4 in E major. Now, the piece is in E major, and the notes that we find are, let's write them here, Re sharp, F sharp, C, and Re sharp. Now let's use our usual technique. Re is doubled, so we can cross it out. Let's put them in order, 1 on, 1 off, 1 on, 1 off. So I believe it's Si, Do, Re, Mi, Fa. So Si, Do, Re, Mi, Fa. And this is a chord of B in E major. Now E major, the chord 4 in E major is Mi, Fa, Sol, La, is A, not B. This is the 5th. So the answer here is false. And we move on to the next question now. Which instrument can play the left-hand phrase marked in bar 5, making sure that it's played at the same octave, so without transposing it? Now let's have a look. It is not low, but in the middle register of the keyboard, because it touches, as we said, middle C sharp. So we can exclude the flute, because the flute definitely can't touch the low G unless it's a flute in G, but I don't think this is the case. Oboe is also okay, but oboe and trumpet, it's slightly too low. And I guess that one instrument that can really play this bit very well would be cello. The next question: how many times the dominant of C sharp minor appear in the right hand part of bar 5? So the same bar, but on the upper stave. Now, first of all, we identify the dominant. In C sharp minor, the dominant is the fifth, perfect fifth above. So do, re, mi, fa and sol. G sharp, so sharp. And in bar 5, in the right hand part, we have it twice. So 2. Where is the trick here? That you might want to find G instead of G sharp, but no, it's G sharp. The last question. We need to complete the 2 sentences by adding a number. There are spread chords in bar 2 and bar. Now the spread chords are the chords in which we have the arpeggiato symbol. This one, which means play the notes spreading them from the bottom to the top. Instead of play them all together, you spread them this way. And the arpeggiato symbol is also in bar 4. Which bar begins with the interval of a perfect fifth in both hands? Now here we need to patiently observe the score. This is bar 6. So sharp, do sharp. This is also easy to find, because this piece is mainly populated by chords, and we have only 2 bars that start with individual notes, and bar 5 has a 4th, and only bar 6 starts with a 5th. So the second exercise is also done. Let's turn the page. Okay, the first question, as usual, let's compare the 3 bars here, the 3 pieces here, with bars 7 and 8. And bars 7 and 8 start with the violin, a B up here. Now, as usual, the memorime, if the pitch you want to know, middle C, are you above or below? Now, middle C in bass clef is down here. Middle C in the tenor clef is this one. Middle C in the bass clef is this one. And middle C in the alto clef is here. So these 3 pieces are written at the same pitch. And this one here is nearly 2 octaves above middle C. So, having done these observations, we read these 4 statements and we tick the only correct one. A, B and C are correctly written 2 octaves lower. Now, 2 octaves lower, this is one and this is the other one. So, 2 octaves lower would be that the note just above would be Do, middle C. And in fact, that is correct. Now, as I said, let's exclude the other answers as well. Only A is correctly written 2 octaves lower. No, because the other two are the same. Only B and C are written correctly. No, because they are all the same. Only C is correctly written. No, because they are all the same. So, the first one. Easy peasy. If you don't find middle C, you're not going to make this answer quick and straightforward. So make sure that you find middle C first. For now, we move on. In this second question, we need to observe the original score and answer the questions. They say here that tempo should be faster than allegro, but andantino, at the beginning, written at the beginning of this amazing piece by Albéniz, is actually slower than allegro. So, false. Andantino is nearly andante. And andante means at a walking pace. And allegro means fast. So, it's slower than allegro, not faster. The violin begins with 3 down bows. Yes, because these symbols here are down bows. So, true. The right hand piano part in bar 7 is made up entirely of major thirds. Now, the first 2 quavers, the chord, is a major third, which is 2 tones above. So here you need just to calculate. The first one is Sol and B, G and B, and it's 2 tones apart. So yes. The second one is La and Do sharp, A, C sharp. So yes, that is 2 tones. The third chord is C sharp, E, and that is not a major third, but it's a minor third. It misses 1 semitone. It's 1.5 semitones. So incorrect. This is false. It's already false entirely, so it's false. And the next one, by the way, is also a minor third, so double false. The left-hand piano part contains acciaccature. Yes, these small notes with a line through are acciaccature and must be played like tr, 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 tram, pam, pam, tram, tam, tam. Okay. The highest note in the violin part is a G, and I'm afraid this is incorrect because the highest note is a mi, E, and only in the bass clef that note would be called G. So incorrect. Next one. Which instrument, says question C, would be able to play the violin part, making sure that it sounds at the same pitch? And I'm afraid between horn, bassoon, cello and flute, the only possible option would be the flute, because the higher notes in bars 7, 8 and 9 can be only played within these instruments here by the flute. So flute. And in the following questions, we need to find how many times the submediant, so the 6th degree of D major, appears in the violin part. So the submediant, the 6th degree of D major, is Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si. It's B. And it's not sharp or flat because D major has 2 sharps. And I know this because from D, I just move 1 semitone below, I find C sharp, Do sharp, and then I count Fa, Do. So 2 sharps. I haven't named B, so B is natural. And how many times B appears in the violin part? We just need to count them. 4. Done. Last one. We need to complete the sentences by adding only one number, and They ask us to find the bar which contains the upper mordents, and the bar is bar 8 in both the violin and right hand piano part. Let me write it better actually. There is an augmented fourth in the violin part in bar. Now the augmented fourth, to find it we need to find the perfect fourth and then add a semitone. The perfect fourth is 2.5 tones. Plus 1 semitone. So 3 tones. Then you need to go through the violin part very patiently and find this augmented fourth. And it is in bar 9 when we have C sharp and So natural, G natural, Do sharp and G natural. They are 3 tones apart. Now, how did I find it? I had gone through the piece, found all the fourth, and then calling the notes as they are, for example, in this case, C sharp, G natural, I have identified the shape that was not regular. So you see this. This is what I've done. Otherwise, you can just draw a keyboard and calculate patiently all the fourth and see which one has 3 tones. Okay, so that is the technique that you can use. If you're happy, let's move on together to the last exercise, number 4. The last example is a piece by Schubert, and this is very famous. If you want to have fun, and you can play the piano, try to play it. It's a very, very famous piece. Anyway, let's compare these 3 bars with the left-hand part of bar 1. So it is in bass clef, and the note is Fa. We have 4 flats, but in this case it doesn't matter because the note is not touched by the flats. In the bass clef, as we know it now at this point, if the pitch you want to know, middle C, are you above or below? So in the bass clef, the middle C would be up here. In the tenor clef, here. In the alto clef, here, okay, as usual, where the 2 bubbles meet. And in the, so basically this is the bass clef, this is the middle C, and this is middle C, okay? That's it. And in the bass clef, the second note is also middle C. So let's do this, actually that is very helpful. So this is middle C. Perfect. So this means that these 3 bars are all at the same pitch of the original one. We already know this. Now let's go through the 4 statements and let's find the only statement that says this. We're very lucky today. A, B and C are correctly written at the same pitch. So this is the correct answer. But as usual, let's go through the other 3 statements and let's make sure that we don't miss the fact that all of them are incorrect. Only A and B are the same pitch. No. Only B and C are at the same pitch. No. Only A and C are at the same pitch. No, because all the 3 of them are written at the same pitch. Okay, now the questions relating to the piece. The music should be repeated from the beginning. Yes, because there is a repeat sign, the 2 dots before the final bar line. Yes. The left-hand part should be always played detached. Yes, because it's written on the first, underneath the first bar, left hand, staccato sempre. That means always detached. Staccato, detached. Sempre is an Italian word for always. So true. The right hand part contains major sixth in bar 4. So let's go to bar 4 and we have La flat and Fa. Now La flat and Fa, let me write it here. This is interesting. We have La flat and Fa, okay? If we want to find, La flat. If we want to know whether it's major or minor, this sixth, this is a sixth, so that part is correct. Let's see if this is a major sixth. So we need to flip it over. Fa, La flat, Fa becomes Fa La flat. And if this third is minor, the sixth is major. If the third is major, the sixth is minor. Okay? Fa La is 3 semitones above, and 3 semitones means a third, a minor third. Therefore, this is a major sixth. So, the right hand part contains major sixth. Yes. Fourth question. The right hand part contains appoggiature. No, acciaccature. So, false. They are acciaccature. It's the small note with a line through, and the 2 notes together, they are acciaccature as well. The key of the music is C minor. Now, with 4 flats, we could be in the penultimate flat is A flat, so we could be in A flat major, or 3 semitones below, F minor. So I'm afraid this is false, because none of these relate to this C minor. C minor has 3 flats because it's the relative minor of E flat major. Okay, let's move on. Finished. Which instrument would be able to play the right hand phrase in bar 1 at the same octave? Now we have bassoon, oboe, cello, tuba. Bassoon and tuba are very low, so I would exclude it. A flat above middle C is also a little bit too high for cello. Therefore, I would say oboe. How do I know this? Experience. I've been playing with lots of instruments. I'm a pianist, but I've been playing with lots of instruments, and I just imagine that they can't be that low. How can you know? Well, if you go on YouTube, well, you are already on YouTube, and then you find anything for bassoon, anything for oboe, cello, tuba, flute, violin, viola, and anything else, you're going to hear the sound of the instrument. And by remembering it, you would know which one sounds too low or too high and which one would be the correct one. So because you don't have experience, your experience can be inducted by YouTube videos. You know, when I was a student, YouTube was not, I'm not really old, but I'm not young, very young as well. And when I was in the conservatoire, YouTube was not that popular, and the internet was not as spread as it is today. So my experience was really listening to other people playing for real, going to concerts, accompanying them in the conservatoire, attending concerts, exams, auditions, and so forth. So my experience was direct, but your experience could be easily and comfortably indirect by watching it on your sofa. So I would recommend to do it because you learn a lot and you do remember what you watch. Okay, so that is my suggestion for this. How many times the subdominant note in the key of F minor appear in the left hand part? Now the subdominant is the 4th degree of F minor. Let's have a look at the note name. Fa, Sol, La, Si. Now, B, is it flat? Well, I can tell you yes, but let's go in order. F minor is the relative minor of 3 semitones above A flat major. A flat is our penultimate flat. So, Si, Mi, La, Re. So, B, E, A, D. B is included. So this is B flat. Now, how many times do we find B flat in the left hand part? We just need to go through the left hand part and then see how many times we find B flat. 2. Both of them are in bar 6. The very last question before the congratulations. We need to complete the sentences by adding the bar number of the accented notes. And the accented notes are in bar 2 and bar 4. This is the accent symbol. Bar 3 has the same rhythm and articulation as bar 1 and bar 5. Tra-tararatta, tra-tararatta. It's quite a specific articulation, so it's really easy to find it. Tra-tararatta. That's it. I hope this video was helpful. I just want to thank all the ones who messaged me and emailed me. It has been great to be in touch with you, honestly. And if you have anything to say, leave me a comment. I always read them and I always reply. Now, if you want to revise other chapters of Discovering Music Theory Grade 5, click there and find other tutorials. And don't forget, tell your friends about it. If it was helpful for you, it will be helpful for other people. Happy watching! I'll see you in my next video. Bye!